Welcome to Homocide, the podcast. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Brandon.
And if you're not familiar, Homocide, the podcast is the best true crime podcast hosted by two husbands that often get mistaken for twins. Hello. Hi, Brandon.
It's true.
It is. Okay, what's your story about today?
Well, my story is titled Saliva and Sorcery.
What? Gross.
It'll be fun.
Mine's titled something different, but I can describe it in 2 words. Toy box. Ooh. I know.
That sounds creepy already.
It is creepy. Okay, our life has been really hectic, and obviously our last episode we talked about little Miss Martina, who is here with us today.
She is, but we won't get mushy this time.
We won't. We're not over it, believe us, but we're just, I think our tears have dried up because we have none left in our body.
Right. My body's like, I can't do it anymore.
It's like, please stop. Anyway, we're back in New York City at our apartment, and
For the first time in quite some time,
well, you haven't been
we
here
get to
since
do
December.
this in person
Yes.
all together.
But Anna is also here.
Yes.
Hi.
And I love it.
I know. It feels weird. I love
feels
being
great.
back. Right? It feels
Feels
right.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, my hair is getting caught in my microphone. Or my
Your
beard.
beard, gross.
Yeah, it feels weird. Ew, look, can you see it?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Oh, you can hear it too. Gross.
Yeah.
It's my microphone's a little
ASMR.
different today. Yeah, like
So gross.
it's disgusting. Anyway, Anna, we have so missed being in person
I
with
know.
you.
I know. I've missed being here too.
Oh, ugh. But I think you're doing something kind of big soon, right? I've been seeing it all over your social. Do you want to talk about
Oh
it?
my god.
Yeah, do a little shout out.
Expose me like this.
I know.
Yes, I am going to start my own podcast.
Yay.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that so much.
Thank you. I have been producing for other people for like a year and change. So I finally feel ready to do my own.
To dive right in.
Yeah. I had my first interview on Friday. And
Fun.
You've already filmed? You've already
Yeah,
done
I
one?
already did one.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
Oh my God. When is it launching?
I don't have an exact date yet. I'm
Okay.
thinking like late April because I want to
Cool.
do as many interviews before
Yeah,
I
so
launch as
smart.
possible.
Get it all set up.
That's so smart.
Yeah, because a lot of the
Yeah.
people that I'm pitching are like, I can do it in a month. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah,
Great.
which is totally fine. But yeah, I want to.
Yeah.
So you mean you don't want to do it like a couple days before it's supposed to air and then get all freaked out because you're like, shit, we haven't recorded or edited or got anything
I
ready?
just like don't trust my own energy enough. I know that I can go from one week to the next feeling so wildly different.
Yeah.
100%.
So yeah, I want to be sure to give myself on the weeks that I like feel like trash the ability to do nothing except for
Yeah.
edit because
Yeah.
that doesn't really
God, I wish
take the
that
same like presence.
Yeah.
that's great advice for us. But we don't follow. So,
No.
nope.
We don't.
Like this episode is supposed to go up on Tuesday. So,
And it's Sunday.
And it's Sunday.
That's okay. That's
So
still
Living
early.
life on the edge.
I know.
On the edge, yes. But hopefully we'll get, a little bit caught up too. That said, we've had some pretty wild stuff happening in our life. But I do want to tell everybody, Brandon, I just want to give you some little, accolades or a little shout out here. Because Brandon, well, I kind of forced him to join this organization called the AAF of Tampa Bay, which is the American Advertising Federation for like our industry that we have because we own an agency in Tampa.
Yep.
And I was like, Brandon, jump into it, be the president. And he did.
I did. I did.
Just jump into it. Just be
I
the
did.
president.
I did. I'm like, I know barely nothing. Like, I don't really know anything about this organization. Why not be the president of it? Let's do it.
But I will say,
I learned quick though.
You did, and you did a fucking incredible job. And I just want to say that you are much more powerful than you may know.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. It's a round of applause.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Sounds amazing.
Anna, what is new in your life? Your mama just came to town, right?
Yes, my mama came to town. We
know, we
saw
missed
like
her.
5 or 4 Broadway shows while she was here, which is
Love
more than
that.
I have in a really long time.
Yeah.
So that was great. We saw Sweeney Todd. It was
Love.
very good.
Love, yeah.
Sutton Foster blew it out
yeah.
of the water.
Yeah, and she just came onto the cast, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
Josh
literally,
Groban and
we
Emily-
saw
yeah.
her the day after her opening night,
Oh,
like
wow.
the
Oh my
matinee after. So it was her second
And
performance.
it was amazing.
Yeah, incredible.
Second performance, and that was
Right.
Yeah.
oh, Broadway.
That'd be fun. We haven't gone to
One
see a show in
day.
quite some
One
time.
day. Yeah, no, we haven't. What was the last show that we saw? I don't know.
Oh, it was The Cottage.
Oh, The Cottage. That's right. Yeah,
What's the cottage?
The Cottage. It's gone now.
It was,
But,
it wasn't out for too long.
No, it was hilarious. It was actually really good. But Eric McCormick was in it, and God, who else was in it?
I'm forgetting everyone's names.
Oh my gosh. Well, there was several other actors in it.
Yeah,
Straight Play.
The guy that you did the show with.
Oh, Alex Moffat. Yeah, Alex Moffat was in it as well, which is why we went, because I filmed a TV show. Hopefully that will be out soon. With him in it.
It's only been like a year and a half.
I know. So, like a true beginning actor, I was like, I've been in something with him. I know him. Let me go support him, even though he's probably like, who are you again?
Who are you?
Who are you again?
But still, it's still fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I spent 2 days on set, basically with him and Vince Vaughn. And so I was
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah, so I wanted to go do it anyway. It was a great show, really, really funny.
Yeah.
What was it about? It was about conflict.
It was about a family.
Okay, keep it mysterious for me.
Right. There's this family that owns a cottage in some rural town, and
I think it was in New York because they had like accents.
it must have been, and the mother who owned the building died, and so it was given to. No, it wasn't. Okay, so
It was a family. It was a family cottage, and these two brothers and their wives would go to it. But then both brothers started sleeping with each other's wives,
Yes.
and it was messy, and there was a lot of smoking.
Yes,
I do remember
there was a lot of
like
smoking.
real cigarettes.
They would,
yeah.
they would pick out cigarettes from like random places. It was like
all
a
over
gag
set.
of the
Oh,
show.
nice.
But then at the end, it was basically the mother that owned the property died, and they found out that one of the one of the wives that was cheating on it got gifted the house in the will.
Yeah.
So it was this big dramatic story that was just
It was so good, though.
really funny
I love
and
a story
campy.
of the will.
Great. Yeah.
You know? Wait, something so funny about using cigarettes, like any smoking in a live show like that,
Yeah.
is that I was in a show once where we had to smoke, and we were smoking just like the floral cigarettes. And they were like, pay attention, like when you start smoking, like we can't do too much of this because people will start coughing. And
Just naturally by seeing it?
Yeah, it's just an instinct. Like
Oh, yeah.
it's not actually that it's like irritating their lungs at all, because this
Interesting.
is not actual nicotine.
Yeah.
Totally,
but everybody
totally.
in the audience will just start coughing.
That's so funny.
So next time you're in a show and they start smoking cigarettes, pay attention.
Pay attention if you're coughing. That's funny that
funny.
you say that. I don't remember anybody coughing. And these were real cigarettes.
Oh, yeah,
because
there was
I
a ton of
like,
them.
oh, this smells like real cigarettes now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't remember anybody coughing. There was at one point, though, oh my God, there was a mistake. And they handled it so well.
it was so good.
But because when you're on stage and something happens and it can just throw it off,
Yeah.
especially if it's a new, like if you're
Yeah.
just coming out of tech week and you're like going into, oh my God, opening. But basically this woman went to go get something.
It was like a glass of
Oh, it was
like
a
whiskey,
glass of
like
whiskey.
something.
But the glass flew out of her hand, flew into the audience.
And, like-
and she was like,
it like smashed and like got all over this guy.
oh my God. It was so
hilarious.
funny.
And every one
everyone
of them like
died.
played into it on the stage too.
They did. I mean, each one broke, right? And they were like each one. And then they just played into it. And it was clearly improv for a hot second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then right back into the script. It was so
good.
well done that I was like, was that scripted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't, but it was really fucking
was
good. Anyway, well, I'm glad that your mom came. Tell her, well, she'll probably listen, but tell her that we're sorry that we missed her.
I know.
Yeah.
We were
I wanted
excited to
see
do a little
her.
episode with her here.
I know.
were.
She would have loved that.
I know,
It's
but
okay,
she'll
next
be back.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She'll be back. But anyway, all right. Well, okay. Well, do you want to say our little episode notes for, even though this isn't really happening, but let's, go ahead and.
Oh yeah. If you have a Homotown murder, which we haven't really done one in quite some time,
We
but
have not,
if you have a Homotown murder, which is basically a hometown murder, be sure to write it to us, write into us.
Right.
That was
Yep,
weird.
Right.
At murder@homocidepodcast.com.
Yeah. That way we can have you join us on the podcast
Yes.
in person if we know you, or digitally, and you can tell us all about your Homotown murder. And then obviously, please subscribe, please rate, please review.
Yes.
Only 5 stars, and that's it. And there's our washer.
And it agrees.
Yeah, our washer's like, thank you, thank you for washing clothes today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please subscribe.
All right.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Who goes first today?
I believe you do. I'm pretty sure I went last time.
Okay, cool. Well, shall we dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. I also need to get.
Oh no, Marty fell.
Oh shite.
Not Martina.
Well, you put Marty back, yep.
Luckily, she didn't fall.
Oh, she's well, we'll note it now. Here, let's do it because it'll be funny.
Well, definitely got on camera. I was literally about to say she didn't fall between the couch. Good. She literally fell behind the couch.
You made her fall behind. Okay, so for
did.
everybody, we just changed out some media cards and resituated / turned off our washer. And you might notice that Martina has now gone.
She has fallen.
And yes, she is wherever you go when you die. But her,
I was going to say she went below the couch, but apparently
her picture fell behind the couch. So she's still here.
she's here.
She's below us.
Which is,
now.
I mean, she would often go below the couch anyway, so
She
maybe
would.
that's a good spot
Do you
for
remember
her.
that time? That picture that I found, and I was like, oh my God, her foot was sticking out from right under here.
Yeah.
She's lucky I didn't step on her that day. But oh, Martina. She is no longer behind us. She's under us. So that's that. Okay. Anyway,
She's still here.
she's still here. Okay. So I go first, right?
Yes.
All right. Let me just. This is what happens when you do a podcast. Is you're doing 1,000 things at the same time, and now our file's transferring. Great. Okay. So my episode today is titled "Dear David, Your Mustache is Ugly." And it was ugly because
Pew, 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 pew.
he's an ugly dude.
He's an ugly dude with an ugly mustache.
Yeah, and I don't know that we said the actual title of this episode.
Oh, we
but
didn't.
Episode 15. Can you believe that we're in episode 15
No.
already? I know.
You even just saying that was like, wait, what?
I know, it feels weird. But this episode is titled "The Serialist of Serial Killers."
Yes.
Which, by the way, Serialist
Part
is
2
not
of our
me now,
serial
but-
killer episode.
Yeah, part 2. Yeah, because we've only done once. Wait.
I mean, we've technically done serial killers,
That's
but
true.
we did one episode that was specifically serial killers.
That's right. No, I'm not remembering any of them. But
And I think it was David, whatever, Coral.
wait, Albert Fish. No, that was not. No, Albert was gross.
Albert was very gross.
He was
That's
not
gross.
a serial killer, though, right?
No,
No, he like.
Oh, I thought he was.
Wait, was he?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Albert.
Wait, no.
We've only
Albert
had
was just
15, but
one.
it's a lot to remember.
It
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
It
Oh my
is.
God.
And you did a TikTok on it not too long
I did
ago,
a
too.
TikTok on Jesse Pomeroy because that little kid was a shitbag. Yeah. That was the one with the milky eye, remember?
Yeah.
Ugh, gross. Anyway, okay. So, Dear David, your mustache is ugly. Okay. It was the afternoon of March 22nd, 1999, when Cynthia Vigil, a 22-year-old sex worker, who was seen completely naked and screaming as she sprinted down the dirt road in southern New Mexico.
Jeez.
Out of fear of how she looked, a woman in a car who saw her locked her doors and sped away. Cynthia,
I mean, I think she was probably in distress.
I mean, if you were driving on a backcountry road in New Mexico,
I mean,
Yeah,
that is
sorry,
really
no. I
creepy.
would be
No, that is
driving
creepy.
away.
yeah,
That is-
and
never mind.
some
Never mind.
naked woman running
her
down
on
the
your
road. But here, let me describe what she looks like, because then you might be like, oh yeah, which is horrible. But Cynthia was covered in bruises and blood from a head wound, had a metal collar padlocked around her neck, and a chain
my God.
dangling behind her.
No. I mean, yeah, that's terrifying. I think I'd call the police, though.
I would absolutely call the police.
But
Agreed.
that's terrifying.
Yeah. Like, I'll go up the road 5 minutes, keep running. I'll call the cops. They'll meet us.
Yeah, that's
I don't
terrifying.
know. Anyway, another car saw her as well and sped away, which is horrible. But eventually Cynthia reached a set of homes and trailers along the road, located one that seemed a little bit more well kept with a door that was open, and then rushed in. So now imagine that you're sitting
no.
in your home watching TV.
Some woman just busted the apartment.
and some woman blows in with a metal collar and chain and blood and yeah.
That would be terrifying.
That's what happened. So,
but I'm
Cynthia-
sure this woman went through a lot of shit, and that's awful for both sides.
Just wait. So basically, Cynthia goes into this house, this trailer, slams the door behind her, locks it out, and out of fear that they may be following her, she begs the surprised homeowner to help her. So the surprised woman in the home immediately called 911, covered Cynthia with a robe, and Cynthia, who had just gotten into the home, did not know where she was, but quickly learned that she was 150 miles south of where she lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, Jesus.
So this is the story of David Parker Ray, who is also known as the Toy Box Killer, who raped, tortured, manipulated, and murdered what the police believe is more than 60 women
Holy
near
shit.
the town of Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. We're going to address
Wait,
that in a
that's-
second.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
That's the name of
Yeah,
the town.
The
that's
name of the
such a
town.
weird fucking name.
In New Mexico is Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
That is
I
so
know.
foreboding.
Why would anybody want to live in a place named that?
I'm going to dive into this shit. So anyway,
But also, like, New Mexico's like really pretty, but it's also very strange. Just
It's
in
really
general.
pretty and it's
scary.
really ugly at the same time.
It's
Like,
actually-
it is.
let's
Listen.
be real.
okay, so there's only one more note here that I said. So with not one body recovered, David is likely the most famous serial killer in the state of New Mexico. Okay, so with
What
that,
about? No, just kidding.
wait,
I was gonna say Billy the Kid, but he's not a serial killer.
Billy the Kid, no. Wasn't he like a Western?
Yeah, he was
yeah,
just
like
a,
pew pew pew.
Yeah.
Pew, pew, pew.
But if he pew pew pewed, he must have
He
pew
pew pew pewed a lot.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely
But he's
a
not
murderer.
a serial killer.
but,
Okay, I concede.
he should have been. But anyway. But anyway, okay. So New Mexico. I have some facts in here, but as most people know, I was born in Roswell, New Mexico. I only lived there for 2 years of my life, but my biological family a lot of them are still there on my dad's side, including my biological dad. So I used to drive from Denver to Roswell, and I would go I-25 and basically take a sideway towards Vaughn, New Mexico, which like the stretch between Albuquerque and New Mexico, or Albuquerque isn't New Mexico.
That is.
Albuquerque and Roswell is like really desolate.
Yeah, and
it's really pretty, but it's
boring.
It's creepy and scary.
It's really
and I don't know
creepy and
why.
boring.
Yeah,
It's really pretty, but it's creepy
it's
and
like-
scary.
because it's so quiet.
And yeah,
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
It is very
Yeah,
eerie.
and there's just something about it that's.
I remember. I think the last time we went, I'm like, I'm really glad we're not driving at night.
Oh, see, and I used to do it at night.
That's creepy.
I know. So, okay. New Mexico is nicknamed the Land of Enchantment and is the country's top producer of perlite, which, by the way, is a type of glass used in insulation and gardening.
Insulation and gardening.
Yeah.
Hey, slay.
Which I was
What
like,
kind of glass do you use?
what? And then I'm like, I don't care. So I didn't. I didn't get any more
Yeah,
information
truly,
other
who
than
cares?
that. Yeah. So anyway, so here's some kind of interesting facts about New Mexico in general. So New Mexico is also the home of Roswell UFO Museum, near the spot where some people claim a UFO crashed in 1947. If you have not been to Roswell,
That's okay.
that's okay.
Yeah,
It's an interesting place. I did take Brandon there,
weird.
and I took him to the UFO Museum.
I remember immediately when we like drove in, I'm like, I feel very uncomfortable here.
Yeah, it's a
Like
weird,
I don't know why, but like the energy just was weird.
Well, and there were like Trump flags at every single goddamn corner.
Yeah, and the UFO museum was fucking strange. There was a lot that you had to read. Like, I don't want to read. It was like a
need a
wall, like a
guide.
book.
And it looks like it was in like a cafeteria.
It did.
Like
Oh
you
my
enter it and you're like, that's a weird little. I don't. And then it's like a cafeteria
Yeah,
of fake walls. It was fucking
was
weird.
weird.
Like they clearly have no money. Some other stuff that is interesting about.
Drag them.
It's not my favorite place.
Next episode, we are sponsored by the museum, the
UFO Museum in Roswell. Anyway, New Mexico also produced some famous people, obviously, like every state. But Georgia O'Keeffe, who's a famous artist, is from there. There's actually, if you go into Santa Fe, New Mexico, which is
Yeah.
beautiful,
Oh,
you
Santa
should
Fe's
go.
so cute.
There's a whole Georgia O'Keeffe museum, which was pretty great to go into. Singer John Denver is from there. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos is from there.
Really?
Did not know
I didn't
that.
know that either.
And then, of course, actress Demi Moore is
What-
from
Neil
Roswell,
Patrick
New Mexico.
Harris too.
I didn't know that.
Oh, is
I
he?
think so. He's from Rio Dosa.
I know he has a house there, but I didn't know.
I think he's from there. Yeah.
Neil. Love that. Interesting thing about Demi Moore, too, is that I was born in the same hospital as she was. And once upon a time, my dad was like, my biological dad was like, I went to high school with her. But I was reading her bio today, and I was like, she didn't go to high school in New Mexico. So I'm like, okay, Dad.
lying.
Sure, no. She lived there for like
Okay,
6 months when she was 14, which would put her in high school. That was my media card. Which would put her there, during. So maybe they had a little stint. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think they're the same age. 62.
I have no idea.
I don't know. Anyway.
Demi Moore is 62.
Right?
Yeah. Thank
That
you.
doesn't surprise me too much.
Those
that
cheekbones.
She doesn't
Ugh,
look like she is.
she's gorgeous.
Whoa.
No. I'm like, girl, we were born in the same hospital. We're friends. Anyway.
Besties.
Besties, yes.
She's 61. according to Google.
So she will be 62 then.
Yeah, November 11th, 1962.
Okay, so she will be 62. I think my dad turned 62 in July. Or 63, I don't remember. Anyway, okay. Every year in October, New Mexico hosts the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, where hundreds of hot air balloons launch into the New Mexico skies, which is actually really neat.
Yeah.
I have been to that when I was a child. I don't remember it. Both the Carlsbad Caverns and the White Sands National Monument are also in New Mexico.
Carlsbad Cavern is actually really cool.
Yeah, I have been there. Have you been to White
In
Sands?
unison, too.
No.
Because the White Sands is really cool. Everybody has seen it because the film Independence Day, the OG, the number one.
I mean, everybody who's seen that movie has seen it.
Hopefully, have you seen Independence Day? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. Oh God.
think
When
so.
Will Smith
No,
is like
yes.
running in the
Yes,
White
Will
Sands.
Smith,
Yeah.
yes.
So that's White Sand National Park. Anyway, National Monument. White Sand is gorgeous. If you've never been, it's right outside of Alamogordo in New Mexico. Loved it. Not creepy, but it's also where the first nuclear explosion.
creepy?
I mean, no. The world's first nuclear explosion occurred
Oh, that's great.
in Los Alamos, New Mexico, on July 16th of 1945. The code name of the test was Trinity, which I found to be interesting. No one probably cares about any of these facts, but I do.
I love it. Keep going.
So New Mexico is also known for its hatch green chilies.
Yeah.
Yes, they're
Which-
delicious.
Yes, which is a unique pepper that's grown only in the Hatch Valley of New Mexico. This is what's really cool about it, and I'll say why we like it so much, but there is nowhere else in the world that has the same growing conditions that can produce the Hatch green chili.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
Isn't it basically like an Anaheim pepper that's just grown?
Basically.
In the Hatch region.
Yeah, in the Hatch region. And it's like whatever the soil is and
Yeah.
those growing conditions produce the specific flavors that go with Hatch green chilies. So
It's from all the aliens.
100%. They left something behind in that region. But we actually love them so much, and it's like in my blood because I'm from there. And it spreads not only into there, it goes into Texas, it goes into California
Colorado.
and Colorado, like this Hatch green chili season
Yeah.
in the fall, where they roast them. So Brandon and I actually order them.
We do.
From the Hatch green chili region and have them shipped to Tampa so we can have our own little Hatch green chili roasting party every year.
Yeah, it's fun.
Aw,
We've
there's
met-
like a ton of Hatch green chili stuff in Lubbock because it's so
right there.
close to
It's so
New
close to the
Mexico.
region. Yep. So
Yeah.
same as Colorado, all the grocery stores would like literally be
Yep.
roasting them outside of the grocery
And
stores.
now it's an
Yeah.
annual event we have. We've done it twice.
Yeah, we've done it twice, and it will be every year moving forward.
Right. When he was like, how many pounds you ordered? Like 20 pounds of peppers. And I'm like,
25.
Oh
like,
my God.
I'm like, I hope we use these all. We actually
We
like
did.
gave out quite a bit. So that was good.
Did, yeah. I'm gonna
We give
do
everyone a little
different,
pack
but-
to go home with.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's
so
Hatch
fun.
green chili mac and cheese.
Ooh, yeah.
Delicious.
I don't know if
I've made it with sourdough before.
Oh, and it was really
yum.
yummy. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. We still have a whole bunch of at the Tampa house, actually.
We do.
Yeah. I'll bring some. I'll give you some. Little taste of home.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so here's some other interesting facts. New Mexico has the second highest murder rate in the United States and has officially earned its reputation as the second most dangerous state in the U.S.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm like, wow. Okay, so let's talk about the town called Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
Yeah.
It is a real town.
Like you Googled it,
weird.
like it's real, like it's.
It is a town called Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. What?
Did they just lose?
There's a
ideas
story
of what
behind
to-
it. I don't get the story, but there's a story behind it. So it's located. So Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, is located off of I-25 between Albuquerque
Albuquerque.
Albuquerque and Las Cruces, which Las Cruces is right on the border. It's a few miles off the border of Mexico.
Yeah.
Near El Paso and see something, some town over there, across the border. But originally, Truth or Consequences was known as Hot Springs. The town was called Hot Springs, New Mexico.
That sounds better.
Oh, yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
I know of Hot Springs, New Mexico.
Well, it's called
Oh,
Truth or
you-
Consequences at
Are
this
you
point.
kidding me? What?
And it changed a while ago. So Truth or Consequences got its big name in 1950 as part of a publicity scheme to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Ralph Edwards' hugely successful game show on NBC Radio. So Ralph, would actually travel to Truth or Consequences annually with all of his celebrity friends to celebrate the Truth or Consequences Fiesta, which actually still happens today. And it's a small resort town that's known as America's most affordable spa town. Is that interesting?
A resort town.
Yes, there's a hot springs there. Like in
I
general.
don't
I've been
want-
there.
yeah.
I've been to the hot springs.
Have you
don't
been?
know if I
I
want
can't
to
believe
pay
this place is
beautiful.
called Truth or
Right?
Consequences.
So
Truth or
weird.
consequences. I know. I was like, what? When I'm reading this, I'm like, no. Like, no.
So
that's
it's
not right.
it's like already setting it up for a murder to be happened there.
Thank you.
Murder to be happened.
I agree.
Can't
So,
speak either. It's
Yeah.
fine.
so here's what's interesting. This man, David, with the ugly mustache, his name is David Parker Ray, which I said in the intro, but he was actually born on November 6th in 1939 in Belen, New Mexico, also somewhere I didn't hear of, which is about 35 miles south of Albuquerque. His dad's name was Cecil Leland Ray, and his mother's name was Nettie Opal Parker. So he had a younger sister named Peggy Pearl Ray, and him and his sister were actually raised by his mother's very strict parents, Russell and Dolly Parker. He lived on a small ranch and grew up quite poor. So David was bullied by his peers for his appearance because he's ugly as fuck. And he was also quite shy around girls. And all of that bullying actually contributed to his reclusive and disturbed adolescence, which, okay. So with that, from a young age, he developed an obsession with bondage and sadomasochism.
Oh, that's something interesting to get into at a young age.
Thank you. So here's what's interesting, though. So his dad, who he would not really see very often, would fuel his fantasies and would bring him violent porn magazines when he would see him.
Ew.
I mean, I understand like supporting your child and all, but like
Not that way.
that's not the right
That
way.
is sick and
This is
twisted.
not
That's
the right-
like that's like I want to be in theater, Daddy. No, like you support that.
I'm
Don't
going to give
support
you
violent porn.
violent porn. I can't even. So anyway, because of the bullying that he endured, apparently, he started abusing drugs and alcohol while he was in school. So David's sexual fantasies of raping, torturing, and even murdering women developed during his teenage years. So when he was 14, his sister saw his sadomasochistic drawings and pornographic pictures of bondage practices, which eventually led to their estrangement. So she was like, goodbye. Weird.
I mean, yeah.
Which, like, I probably would have done that too. I think there's a child outside of our
There
apartment.
is a child right outside.
Find somewhere else. Okay. So,
Go away.
what's
Kevin loves
interesting?
children.
Yeah. Okay. Only when they're related to me. Okay. There is a recorded message by David from July 23rd of 1993, where he said, this is horrible. And this actually gets a little bit dark. So a little bit of a trigger warning.
Oh, jeez.
I've been raping bitches ever since I was old enough to jerk off, and the little girl's hands behind. And I said it wrong. I've been raping. See, this is horrible. I've been raping bitches ever since I was old enough to jerk off, and tying little girls' hands behind the back.
What the fuck?
Yeah, he's a gem. Okay. So he actually alleged to his first wife that he had committed his first murder sometime between 1957 and 1958. But this has not been proven. What's interesting about that is that he graduated high school in 1957. So after that, he served in the U.S. Army. He received an honorable discharge from the U.S. Army, where he actually worked as a general mechanic. So he eventually settled in Elephant Butte, which is right.
These names.
I mean, it's New Mexico, but it's like a reservoir that's like right outside of Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. Anyway, he found a job there as a maintenance man for the New Mexico Parks Department in Truth or Consequences, where he would often pick his victims working in bars. So he lived on this Elephant Butte reservoir, which was still a part of Truth and Consequences. It was just like right outside of it.
Yeah,
as
like a
this
neighborhood
Yeah. So Ray eventually met 37-year-old Cindy Hendy. Cindy,
Hendy.
who worked at the state park in Truth or Consequences. What's
Cindy.
interesting about little Cindy Hendy is she was fleeing convictions on grand theft and drug charges in Washington State. So she was a little criminal.
She was.
So they quickly became bonded, clearly. But they became bonded over their shared violent sexual fantasies.
How do you get into conversation about that with someone?
I mean, I don't have those things, so I don't know. I don't talk about
It's just how
those weird things.
that's
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I have normal sexual fantasies. I'm not like, nope.
Nope. I got
don't know.
nothing for you.
If I ever had somebody talk to me about like, I really just want to, can I hit you in the face? It's my sexual fantasy. I'd be like,
No.
no, thank you.
No.
Yeah,
I'm good.
So anyway, in the
So glad for you. But
So
not for me.
in a 1993 recorded message, Roy told investigators that he would tell his victims. Oh wait, did I just jump somewhere? I think I did. Oh yeah. Okay. No, this is actually something. So this was just a side note. In 1993, in the same recorded message, David told investigators that he would tell his victims that they would be forced to sexually service Cindy. So eventually they obviously got together clearly over their sexual fantasies.
Yeah.
And that was something that I noted probably in the wrong place. But David actually divorced a total of 4 times, but he had 2 kids, one of which ended up being his accomplice. These fucking people. Her name is Glinda Jessie Jean Ray. It's a long name. What's interesting that is in 1986, Jessie tried to actually warn the FBI about her dad, saying that or warning about his criminal activity, and claimed that her father was abducting and torturing women and then selling them to buyers in Mexico.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
Wait,
I
this
know.
is kind of bringing to mind, like not really reminding me, but bringing to mind that Black Mirror episode. Have you guys seen the most recent season?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The second episode of the most recent season.
And it was a while ago. I don't remember.
It's like these kids start to do a true crime documentary, and then they realize at the end, spoiler alert if you haven't seen this, that the murderer, the infamous murderer from their town, was his dad, and his mom was doing it too. Like they had
It does. We
tapes.
definitely saw it, but it was such a long time ago because that came out like beginning of
They had
last year.
a while
They
ago.
had tapes of what they were doing.
They had tapes
Yeah.
of what
That's
they
how
were
he
doing,
found
and
it,
it was
right?
like
Oh, yes.
sexual
Yeah,
and
yeah.
disgusting.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Okay.
That one gave
Maybe
me
this
like
took
a
some
sick
inspo.
feeling in my stomach. Yeah, I
Oh,
bet
yeah.
there was.
There must be some inspo from it.
Yeah.
What's shitty about the his daughter actually trying to go to the FBI in New Mexico, the allegations ended up being so non-specific that the FBI were unable to arrest him.
Because
So
they
Jessie
had nothing to go with.
Yeah, and what's interesting, and there's just not a lot from her in general, but she began partaking in it and began luring young women from clubs to her father's toy box by drugging their drinks.
But like, if she went to the FBI, do you like it's just weird that she would still help if she wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Like,
there's not a lot of information or a dive into like her because she's like people can't find her now.
Yeah, I wonder if
I
like
wonder
she
if
just
it
felt
was-
like she had to.
Yeah,
do
I
that.
wonder if it was like
Yeah.
a blackmail, like
Yeah.
fear thing. She's like, I tried to go to the FBI, it didn't work.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I don't. It's interesting.
because then at that point you could like figure out ways to capture it so that you could be like, here's proof, here's evidence of what's happening.
Well, it's interesting too because the police actually discovered that she was partaking because they listened to tapes that he would record, which I'll get into.
Well.
So, okay, this all brings us back to March 22nd of 1999 when Cynthia Vigil was, when she was naked and tortured running down the road, waited for the police to arrive in the trailer that she was waiting in. So we're back there. So 2 police officers responded to the call. When they arrived, Cynthia was crying hysterically and screaming, "Oh my God, I'm alive," kind of thing. So Cynthia told the officers that she had been kidnapped by a man who, with a woman, had held her prisoner in a trailer nearby. She said they had tortured her for the last 3 days with a bizarre collection of sexual and medical instruments, and that she managed to get away. So she stated that the male abductor, David, had left the trailer and left the woman in charge of her, but that when the woman, who was Cindy, had gone to another room, she grabbed the set of keys that they accidentally left close by, unlocked the chain that she was fastened to this pole, and then she said that she spotted a phone, ran to the phone, tried to dial 911, but Cindy spotted her, threw a lamp at her, hit her in the head, which is why
gosh.
she was pouring blood from her head. And then Cynthia, of course, fell down. Cindy got the phone, hung up the phone, but Cynthia recovered recovered. God, I'm you today.
I know you sound like me.
Cynthia recovered really quickly, saw an ice pick from a box that had fallen over, grabbed it to defend herself, and stabbed Cindy in the neck. So
Good for you.
Cindy backed off, giving Cynthia an opportunity to run out of the front door.
Oh my God, this poor woman.
I know. So Cynthia told police the location of the trailer. However, the police were already on their way to the trailer because the 911 call did go through, and it sounded like a struggle was happening, and the call dropped. So the dispatcher was like, something's happening. Go to this address. So they were on their way. So once Cynthia made it to the hospital, it was clear that she had bruises and burn marks from electrical torture. She explained in detail the torture, but the local police were like, huh? This has to be a big thing. But they didn't understand how big it was until they got into this trailer. So Cynthia had welts on her back, punctures to her breasts, cuts, bruises, and a big bump on her head from that lamp. So Cynthia then told them how she met David. So she, of course, was a sex worker. So she was working as a sex worker in Albuquerque when David approached her and offered her $20 for a blowjob in his Toyota RV. So when Cynthia climbed in, she encountered Cindy, who was already in there. Cynthia was like, this is not right. But when she tried to leave, David flashed a badge and told her that she was under arrest for solicitation. This was something that he would do. He would pose as a cop.
Oh, that's shitty.
Yeah. So they bound and gagged her, placing duct tape over her mouth, and then locked a steel collar around her neck.
Oh my gosh.
Now, think about the Saw movies, because this was, I think, a little bit of inspiration for Saw, which I'll tell you one of the devices that he had in this trailer. But they put that around her neck. They drove several hours with her in the back. When they arrived at the trailer, they took her inside and chained her to a pole next to the bed. So they didn't actually take her into the trailer yet. She was actually in their house on a bed.
Oh my gosh.
In like their living room, tied there. Anyway, they then put on a VHS tape. And that VHS tape informed her of what was in store.
Oh my gosh, this is
And
terrifying.
and it was him talking on the tape.
Oh my God, this is just like Saw.
100%. So it stated that she was now their sex slave and she could expect a great deal of abuse. And I heard the tape because it was a part of this documentary that I watched. It's awful. And he's like laughing in it.
Oh my gosh.
It's disgusting. So anyway, among many other things, he said that she would have sex with animals, be forcibly raped with dildos, have her nipples stretched to the fullest extent they would go, and would have to give oral sex to David whenever he demanded it.
Oh my gosh.
So she was told other women before her died, and she then experienced extreme torture and rape.
Oh my God, this poor woman.
So
And all of the other poor women that were before her.
I know. So the trailer. Let's talk about that one. So David actually is who referred to, it was a torture chamber, but he is who referred to it as his toy box, but he also referred to it as Satan's Den, where he had a sign hanging in it that read Satan's Den.
I'm sorry. If you know that you're Satan, just kill yourself.
Right?
I'm not going to argue with that.
Right? Absolutely.
Like, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to tell anybody to do it, but if you
like,
are
ew.
really out here saying,
Yeah.
I'm Satan, and you have a torture chamber,
Right.
Something's wrong with you.
Right.
you do not need to be here.
No, you don't.
No, like go die. Instead of killing all these other people. Ugh. So anyway, David's toy box was constructed by him for a cost of around $100,000.
Oh my gosh.
So the trailer was soundproofed and was equipped to serve his twisted purposes and contained a variety of instruments designed to torture and
Oh
restrain.
my God, this is so creepy.
Wait, $100,000 in the 1950s?
No, this was actually in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it included whips, chains, pulleys, straps, clamps, leg spreading bars, surgical blades, electric shock machines, and saws.
Jesus.
So additionally, he had sex toys, torture, I don't know what this word is, but torture implements, implementing torture, I guess, syringes, and detailed diagrams showing ways of inflicting pain.
Like he just had this.
Yeah, just like in there. So the room included a fur-lined coffin
Oh my gosh.
and a makeshift pillory. Do you guys know, or a pillow? Yeah, pillory. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
Okay.
No.
So a pillory, yeah, is a device made of wooden or metal framework on a post with holes for securing a person's head and hands. So the head goes through it and their
Oh,
hands
it's like
go
a
through it.
medieval, like,
Yeah.
like when you go to those.
My mind went to that episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch when they like had to go to
They would-
Salem.
yes.
And pretended to be, yeah.
And they had to pretend like
And
somebody
I
was a
think that
witch.
I think
Yeah.
maybe Sabrina was, I don't remember. Anyway, it's that. So he had that in there.
That is creepy.
And then it was like the fur-lined coffin, like he would like, it's, ugh. Anyway, so there were elaborate locks and pulleys to prevent people from escaping. There was a mirror on the ceiling over a gynecological table,
Oh my gosh.
which forced victims to watch crimes being forced upon them. David,
Oh my God, this is so fucked up.
I know, David wanted his victims to watch what he was doing to them. David would also involve his own dogs in the rape of his victims.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, he employed psychological tactics to instill fear and maintain control over his victims. He and several accomplices, which included his girlfriend, Cindy Hendy, his daughter, Jessie Ray, and an associate named Dennis Roy Yancey. So, David has said he would occasionally release his victims, abandoning them on the side of a country road after severely drugging them with the barbiturates to induce amnesia, which worked.
Oh my gosh.
And it would prevent them from remembering and reporting the assaults because they would just be like, what the fuck?
Oh my gosh. Did it say how many people he did that to? So like there's women out there that
Probably don't even know.
Oh my gosh, that is awful.
But it's even more vast than that. So in March of 1999, obviously when this whole thing happened with Cynthia, police arrived at the trailer and arrested both David and Cindy as they were attempting to leave. Because again, that 911 call had sent them there. So let's talk about the evidence and the investigation. This trailer is sick. The house was sick. They had like, when they got to the house where that woman was tied up in Cynthia, was that her name? Wait, shit.
Yeah, Cynthia.
Yeah, was tied up in the bed. No. Wait, no, I need to look at. What was her name? Oh yeah, it was Cynthia. Oh God, and the other woman's name was Cindy. Ew.
Yeah.
Okay. Where she was tied up on the bed with the pole and all that kind of stuff. There was a bucket with her feces and pee in it.
Oh my gosh.
Because they were like holding her there. The broken lamp was there. It like was just like a mess.
Yeah.
Kind of in the house. But then they go out to this trailer, and it is. Oh, it's
Was Cindy
scary.
not there anymore with her pickaxe?
No, she was still there. They were like leaving.
Oh, okay.
She didn't die. So here's what they found. The trailer was just so at the back of the trailer was that gynecological chair.
Yeah.
Right. And then there were just hooks.
Oh my gosh.
and
I couldn't even
chains and,
imagine
like,
being the police officers walking into this scene.
No, I mean, it was horrifying.
Like you're literally walking into somebody's nightmare.
Yeah. They had this pole that spread somebody's legs apart. And then they had this device that they would shove up kind of thing, but there were nails at the bottom of it. Like it was just awful. But they ended up finding a diary that David kept in where he detailed everything he did to his victims. But he did not disclose
Who they were.
where the bodies were buried for the ones that he murdered. So
I feel like this is a through line with these creepy people is that they keep diaries of this.
Or
like,
something.
Why do they do that? That's such a
It's because they want to be able to like remember it and go back and like
I know,
think
I
about
agree.
it, and
Yeah.
it's fucking disgusting.
Fucking gross. So the investigation also found to have 2 cameras that were set up in the trailer. So here's what's interesting. They found a lot of tapes, but nothing were really on them. But they found one tape showing David explaining how to use everything in the room. As they're watching the tape, it cut out, went black.
Like, so he could remember it?
I don't know.
Or was this like a training video for
It was
someone?
kind of like that.
That's
Yeah.
fucking weird.
So they're watching it, the tape goes out. And then all of a sudden the tape comes back on, and there's a victim in the trailer. The victim looked to be not coherent, maybe a little bit drugged.
Totally like a movie.
Yeah. He's like softly touching her and stuff. It's just, but she's obviously like bound and all this stuff. It was just gross. But they couldn't identify who the actual victim was. So as they watched it, all of a sudden they see a tattoo pop up on the woman and they're like, okay, wait. So the police took the tape to the FBI, who were able to enhance it. And then they provided the media with the tattoo, the picture of the tattoo. And a woman came forward and said, wait, that's my tattoo.
oh my god, that
and
is
her name-
horrifying.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Her name was Kelly Van Cleve. She had no recollection of it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but she was a friend of David's daughter, Jessie. So,
Fuck you, friend.
yeah, there's something else with that as well. There was this woman named Marie Parker, who was another victim and friend of Jessie, his daughter, who went missing not too long after Kelly was, returned. What's interesting is this all came about when he was already obviously under arrest, right? And they were like, "Hey, do you know who this Marie Parker is?" And David was like, "No, I don't know who that is." He's like, "But that was like the girl that went missing from a club not that long ago, right?" Kind of thing. So the police already knew that Jessie Ray, his daughter, was with this guy, Dennis Roy Yancey, which I said his name earlier, right, as one of those accomplices, at the bar the night that Marie Parker disappeared. So police brought him in for questioning. He broke right away, and he said that he knew that David was known for raping, torturing, and killing women for years, and then admitted that he was actually instructed by David to kill Marie by strangulation. And so,
fuck you, dude.
Yeah, police asked,
you had all of these chances to be able to turn this guy in, and you didn't do anything.
Well, he was an accomplice. I'm sure he liked it.
Oh, for sure. He obviously got a kick out of it.
Yeah.
But.
So police asked Roy to take them to the body of Marie because this whole time they couldn't prove anything.
Yeah.
In general, because this woman, Cynthia, who was the one that was running down this, country road, was a heroin addict, and so they were like, "She's unbelievable." So they didn't pursue
because she was on heroin or a heroin addict. They just assume that it's all bullshit.
They didn't. They knew the jury would. So they were like, we can't convict him of just this. So we need somebody who will remember.
So
it.
Fucked up.
So then the Kelly woman came forward and she was like, I don't remember all of this, but I remember she started getting some memories back. But she was having all these nightmares of being tortured at night and grew this fear of duct
it was
tape,
her
and
memory.
She didn't know why, and that was why. Yeah.
I have so many questions. Like, so she's one of the ones that had the amnesia, whatever.
Yeah.
But what? She just woke up in the middle of nowhere.
So apparently he dropped her back off at home.
Because she was a friend.
So she just, I don't know.
Just woke up on her front porch or something.
Yeah, something. It didn't go too into it, but she just didn't recall much. But then it started to come back to her because she remembered being at the bar that night, but then not a lot after.
Yeah.
So, and that's because Jessie took her to her dad's house and all that stuff. So, anyway, the police were like, okay, this other woman is a little bit more credible, but she still doesn't remember everything. So they're going to poke holes in this. And so they're like, so let's find a body. That will help this case. So they asked Roy, take us to the body. He's like, yeah, I can take you to the body where David took me to dump it or whatever. So they go to the location. The body's not there. And so he's like, David must have relocated this.
Yeah, because he didn't want anybody to know where that was.
So here's what's interesting. Remember I said earlier that he was a maintenance worker for the state parks? He had access to everywhere, even where people were not allowed to go. So where he could potentially hide bodies
could have been thousands of acres.
Just stupid. Yeah. So, okay, let's jump back to what else they found in the trailer. So his instructional video that I talked about was also found, where he claimed to have murdered a whole bunch of women, but it also described that the women were there against his will, because in the video he was just like, "You're here against your will." And the video starts with him being like, "Hey, bitch," kind of thing. It's fucked up.
What a fucking creep. And you said you saw this? Did you listen to it?
I listened to some of it. Yeah, they played some of it in this documentary. So police also found a map in the trailer with a whole bunch of X's on it. And so because he was by the reservoir, there were X's on that. So they went, and he had a sailboat. So they went to that reservoir on a whole bunch of dive missions, but they were never able to locate any evidence that would connect David to it. So David, like I said, had access to all those remote locations due to his job. And so he could hide bodies, really well. So anyway, he was caught and all that kind of stuff. And eventually, and I'll go through kind of the arrest and all that, but he eventually confessed to dumping corpses of his victims in the nearby reservoir and just all over these places. And he also referred to a number of his accomplices in the tapes, which is how they kind of knew those other people as well. But according to Cindy, remember Cindy was his girlfriend, the other accomplice. Yeah. The victims that were killed were dismembered and buried, dumped in the Elephant Butte Lake or nearby ravines. So, and this is desert.
These are awful humans.
These are, bodies are not going to last long in a desert.
No.
They just don't. So after his arrest and conviction and all that, David did agree actually to take people and show the authorities where the bodies were buried, but he died right before he could do it. So here's what's interesting.
How did he die?
I'll tell you. So here's some convictions in general. So David Parker Ray, originally, actually, I want to tell you about I have it right here. So originally, his trial was focused only on Kelly's rape and torture. So Kelly was the one that the memories kind of came back, who was on the video. But the trial came out in a hung jury. So he was not convicted in the first trial. So, and the reason that he wasn't was because the original jury was not able to hear the instructional video because the judge was like, no, that can't be.
Oh, that's such bullshit.
I know.
Wow.
That is like a key piece of evidence.
I know. So the case was retried with a different jury and judge where the tape was admissible. And then, of course, he was convicted.
Okay.
So he was found guilty of rape, torture, and sentenced in 2001 to 224 years in prison for the abduction, rape, and torture of 3 women total. Oh, wow. So Cynthia, Angelica Montano, and Kelly Garrett. And Angelica was another woman who had came forward.
Remembered.
So he eventually actually gave up his right to an appeal to obtain leniency for his daughter. So she was released without trial in Kelly's abduction. But her story doesn't end there. Cindy, the girlfriend, testified against David, but received 36 years for her role in the crimes. She was scheduled to receive parole in 2017, but eventually was released in 2019 after serving 2 years of her parole in prison. So Miss Cindy Hendy is out of prison.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
She should have been in prison the rest of her life.
Agreed. But there's a reason why that she's not, and how this gets a little bit fucked up because no body's ever been recovered. None. And he's thought to have killed 60 people, 60 women. And that's not even the ones that he released.
Yeah.
So Jessie Ray, his daughter, was still charged with kidnapping and criminal sexual penetration, where she pled no contest and received a 30-month sentence with an additional 5 years to be served on probation.
What?
No one knows where she is now. Yeah. And then Dennis Roy Yancey, the one who was like, I strangled that woman, pleaded guilty to the 1997 murder of Marie Parker in Elephant Butte and confessed to helping Jessie, lure her into captivity in her father's trailer. He said David is who forced him to strangle her to death. He was also charged with kidnapping, 2 counts of conspiracy to commit a crime, and tampering with evidence. He was sentenced to 30 years. In 2010, he was paroled after serving 11 years in prison. 3 months after his release, he was charged with violating his parole, where he was then put back into custody. He served the rest of his time. He's been out since 2021.
Yet we have people who have been in prison for their whole lives for marijuana charges.
Yeah.
This is so fucking stupid.
I always get nervous when there are people in these cases that are like out and about. And like if they listen to this podcast.
Like, oh my God.
Don't listen to this podcast.
Thanks.
Right.
And then May 28th, 2022. Sorry, that's actually not accurate. So not too long after his, I think it's 2002 or 2001. Anyway, David, after he was convicted, like he served only 8 months and he ended up dying in prison from a heart attack. And he died with all of those secrets.
That's so fucked up.
I hate that. I wish
hate
he
that
would have
too.
lived for years and years and years and had a horrible life in prison.
I know.
But like,
What's
fuck you.
interesting-
At this point, you're already in prison. Why don't you just tell everybody what happened?
I know.
Like, you're already going to be there for the rest of your life. Just
Yeah.
now you
Also,
have tons of
why-
people not knowing.
I don't ever understand why they don't just say a lifetime in prison versus 220 years. Like nobody's
Because
gonna
you never
live that
know.
long. Just like say a lifetime
And he was already
in prison.
old. Like, it's just stupid. What's interesting is that in February of 2011, the Albuquerque FBI released hundreds of images of items that were collected during the investigation of David Parker Ray. And they were jewelry. They were like jewelry and clothing of hundreds of items. And they were like, these belong to someone. So they sent them out in the world to be like, do you identify, are these any of this familiar? So the FBI believes that some of the items, which included jewelry and clothes, have been taken from victims and are seeking the public to see if they recognize any of the items, like I just said. So,
Jeez.
yeah, so that was...
That is...
I know.
When you were writing it, this is like the longest I think I've seen you take on a story.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, this is going to be a good one. I did not expect that.
It was a saucy one, and I didn't like it at all. And you can actually watch a little documentary on it on YouTube, which is what I watched. It basically goes into everything that I did, although I did all of it and then watched the documentary, which was all kind of the same. But it's a messed up one, and there's some interesting stuff in New Mexico. I'm going to do another serial killer in New Mexico that I actually hasn't yet to be found. Which is creepy. But yeah, this one was like scary.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah. And they interviewed a couple of his like coworkers because he was a mechanic, and they were like, he was a great guy. And so he really just like hid this like weird.
It's interesting though, because we have some parallels in our story, and I feel like that happens a lot.
Yeah, that's weird.
So I'm excited to like have you hear what
I'm excited
what
to
I
hear it too.
have.
I'm excited. All right. Well, that was, Dear David, your mustache is ugly. Also, he was really fucking ugly.
Well, now I want to see his mustache. It'll be on the cover art, but I want to see it now.
Yeah, he was like, ugh, you can, ugh. Yeah, if you were going to think of what somebody looked like that was doing all this like rape, torture shit, he would be it.
Yeah.
Like, it was scary. I did think it was interesting because I've only ever seen one of the Saw movies.
Yeah.
Because I can't watch that shit. Oh my God, this was one thing that I forgot. He had a device in there where it was a box where he would put it on someone's head to disorient them. It was a locked box. Yeah. Isn't that fucking terrifying? But I also think that was like a part of the Saw movies.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Remember. But anyway, there was, I can't watch that kind of shit because I just don't like it. But this really reminded me of some of that shit.
Yeah.
It was like,
no,
when
it
see
sounds like a horror
it,
movie.
It's like, oh my God, it's pretty bad. So anyway, that was mine. Are you ready?
Yeah, I guess so.
So Brandon, tell us your title of your episode again.
So again, my title is Saliva and Sorcery.
Ew.
Yuck.
Okay, so I'm just going to go right into it. So on April 24th, 1997, a 24-year-old woman named Siri Kamala Dewey called on a rickshaw driver named Andreas to take her to the home of Ahmad Suradji, the local Dukin. So I have a note in here about where we are, but I should probably add it here. So this story is based out of Indonesia. So you might be thinking, what's a Dukin? Because I was. So I have some notes in here. So I'm going to dive a little bit into that before I get too deep into the story. So in Indonesia, the term Dukin is another term for a shaman, sorcerer, or sometimes even witch doctor. And they're known to be a traditional healer. Like I literally just said I was going to mumble. Anyways, they're known to be a traditional healer, a spirit medium, and can also be known to access black magic. So a Dukin may use herbalism, incantations, chants, inanimate objects, charms, and even animal parts to help heal and bless people. They are known to communicate with evil spirits to help people who are in need of an exorcism. They're also known to be soothsayers that can have visions by connecting with one's relatives that have passed on. And some can even place revenge on people by performing incantations and hexes. And according to a Wikipedia article, so again, it's Wikipedia. Exactly. So some of the hexes include that the Dukin would arrange incense, opium, nails, glass, and needles in a half circle, and then ask the spirits to embed the items in the victim's stomach. The Dukin will chant their patient's name so that the target cannot rest until they are cured by another Dukin. They can help their patients implant emotions into their target, so they can. It could be something simple like nice love spells, or even emotions of murder in hopes that they actually murder someone.
Emotions of murder.
Yes.
What are emotions of
I'm
murder?
like,
I don't know.
Suddenly, I'm feeling an emotion of murder.
I think I
What's
need
your
some murder.
emotion? Murder. It's really strange.
I know. I probably should have changed the wording in that.
No,
but
I like it.
I love emotions of murder.
We had that moment because of it, so thank you.
You're welcome. So they can cause pain and even death to the target. I don't know how, but they can. They can cause people to fall under a deep, unshakable slumber. There's another ritual that also involves a half circle of opium and incense, but it also includes food instead of the rest. While that's in the half circle, the Duke chants for the target to suffer from headaches, vomiting, and illness until they're remedied by another Dukin. And then there's another ritual where the Dukin implants an enchanted metal needle into the patient's body, which they say the spirit helps them not to leave a wound. And this treatment is supposed to make their patient more attractive, and it could also be used for making a person less physically vulnerable.
So that's like the only good thing.
Right. I know.
That entire
There's
list.
other things that they do, but that's just some of the hexes that they do. So now the Dukin is obviously an ancient practice that many people hold to high regard. Even past presidents of Indonesia, statesmen, sultans, and more are known to visit them. However, there's many believe that they are just criminals and preying on weak people.
Is it weird that when you said Sultan, my mind went right to Aladdin?
It did. It went for me too. That's America for you. To be a Dukin, you can either inherit the position by being born into a family that had a Dukin, or you can learn the customs by people who inherited the position. But people who inherited the position are held at a higher regard because they were born into it.
Yeah.
So Dewey was the woman in the beginnings. I'll say her name again. Siri Kamala Dewey. She was looking for her own good fortune, and she knew that she would be able to find it with Ahmed. However, like many that visited Ahmed, she kept her visit from her family and friends as a secret, since many didn't believe in the Dukin's abilities. So asking Andreas, the rickshaw driver, to keep the trip a secret, and she let him know that she wouldn't need a ride back. So he dropped her off and went on his way, not knowing that he would be the last one to see her alive. What? Oh, there's a fuzz. I'm like, what are you doing?
Little fuzz.
Anyways, 3 days later, a neighbor of Ahmed's was foraging in the large sugarcane field near Ahmed's house for some weeds to feed his livestock. As this man walked to the field, he was confused when he stumbled upon a mound in the dirt. Upon further investigations, he saw something shocking, and it was the decomposing body of Siri Kamala Dewey in the displaced mud from the rainstorm from the night prior.
Not to take away from the decomposing body, but the word foraging always sends me in a loop, and I'm not sure why. Because I just envision people like, I don't know, in the forest, I don't know.
That's exactly what foraging is.
You're correct.
You are 100% accurate in your envision of it.
I know what foraging means. I'm just telling you that whenever I hear the word, the movie starts playing in my mind, and I can't think of anything other than people foraging.
I mean, isn't that the point of telling a story?
Yes, but
You're so cute.
then I missed all of the decomposing body. Because I just
you're
envisioned
just
foraging.
envisioning somebody picking up little plants.
But it's funny because from what I'm envisioning about your thoughts is like a Disney character, like la 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 la.
My mind went to Ever After, and that
there's birds flying and chirping, and squirrels coming up to talk to you.
Oh my god, I need medication.
I agree. Anyways, so I'm just kidding. So I'm going to switch a little bit and talk about Ahmed. So Ahmed was born January 10th, 1949. 1949.
Wait, who's Ahmed?
Ahmed is the Dukin.
Oh, yeah.
You weren't listening. No, I'm just kidding. That was way in the beginning. So
there's a lot of words.
So she went to the Dukin's house, Ahmed Suradji.
Got it. Okay.
So Ahmed was born on January 10th, 1949 and lived in North Sumatra, Indonesia. I didn't see too much about his past, but Ahmed was known to be a rebel as a child who had a hard time making friends. And by the age of 19, he ran away from home and was jailed for 10 years for violent behavior. But I'm not sure what that violent behavior was because there wasn't much about it. So
I mean, it had to have been pretty bad if he was jailed for 10 years.
Yeah. So I don't know.
All right.
I mean, he ends up being a great guy. So, So Ahmed eventually settled down and became a cattle breeder and married 3 women who happened to all be sisters. And I have a note in here that says polygamy is not illegal in Indonesia. But there was a few different contradictory things, but it has to do with the religion, and there's a few different religions that some accept it, some don't accept it in Indonesia. So
we could be really well, like my biological family, my biological grandma not married, but had kids with two brothers.
yeah, but that was at 2 separate times. They were married
they're
all
at
at the same time. Yeah,
Oh.
all 3
And
wives,
all 3 sisters,
and they were sisters married
That's
to
a little bit
one bro.
incesty.
Yeah.
It's bordering.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Did you have fun with my husband? Like, it's weird.
Ew. Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband, my brother-in-law as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really fucking weird. All right.
So after some time of life as a cattle breeder, it kind of got a little bit boring. And so I saw some contradictory stuff out there. Some made it sound like he had kind of like a career change to become a Dukin. And then I saw some that said he was born into a family where his father was a Dukin. So at some point he decided to become one.
From cattle breeder to Dukin.
I do love that you can just become one.
I know. Right.
Holy shit.
Oh, and I have a note in here that all wives were sisters, so I said that at the same. I have 2 notes of the same note in here. Anyways, so becoming a Dukin for Ahmed, his specialties were the creation of a love potion that was a solution to marital and fertility problems, and he would help women who were looking for good fortune and to maintain their youth. And he was pretty popular for the area. According to one source I saw, he made roughly $200 to $400 for every service, and people would come see him from all different regions. And I saw some notes where like the neighborhood, everybody in the neighborhood thought he was such a great guy, just like yours, where people just thought he was kind. But
See?
yeah. So this is where it starts to get a little odd. So at some point in Ahmed's journey, he had a dream of his father, who was already passed away.
That never ends well.
Exactly. So in this dream, the ghost of his father, who also happened to be a shaman, told him that he would be that Ahmed could be a great healer, but to do so, he would need to drink the saliva of 70 women, and that the saliva would help him grow his powers. So saliva and sorcery,
I feel like that's just gonna give you a disease.
right? Right.
I don't know
Like
which one, but
like how thick saliva is, like.
It just reminds me of that time we did the Ancestry.com thing. You
You got to spit it into
so
the
much in
tube.
that tube.
Yeah, it's basically drinking. Yeah. Taking this vision as something that he actually had to do, because again, he was a Dukin, so he had visions and all this stuff. He figured it was something that he needed to do, but he thought, well, 70 people, that's a lot. How do I get away with this? So he found an easier way to do it, which was to murder them.
Okay.
I don't know that that's easier.
I don't either.
What's
Yeah,
easier?
like-
I'm going to kill you for your saliva. Be like, can you just spit in this cup for me?
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, this is a man who had a dream to drink saliva.
But those are the, like, if you, and people have weird dreams, but like a normal person would be like, what the fuck?
right? No, a normal person would then like Google it and be like, what does it mean when somebody tells me to drink
people's saliva? Because
in
I'm
my
not
dream.
doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, I don't.
Yeah. So, okay. So he would often choose women who are coming to him looking to gain more attractive men, desire to be more sexually attractive and to have more money. Most happen to be sex workers. So again, another correlation. He figured that these women were less dangerous as victims because there wouldn't be many people looking for them. And I did see a note where he would have people come to him, and if it was getting slow, he would go out and find a sex worker to bring back. He would lure women to his home and into the sugarcane field nearby. He would basically like tell them where to go. And so as they walked into the field, he would direct them into a pre-dug hole in the ground. He would ask them to start the ritual that they would need to get inside of the hole. And the hole was always roughly to shoulder level of the person. So from there, he would fill the hole around them, all while reassuring them about the ritual. Eventually, the women would be trapped in the dirt, making them immobile. And again, they would just be their heads out of the soil. Yeah. He would then grab a cable and choke them and strangle them to death. So once the woman was dead, he would gather the saliva dripping from their mouth and drink it.
Lord.
Yes. He would then remove the body, remove the clothing and then bury the body in the ground. And believing that the position of the body could help him gain more power, he would face his victims' heads towards his home, so he would be able to collect the power from their body because they were looking at him.
Oh my God.
Yeah. All the while, his 3 wives sat by and helped with his plans. So another odd fucking correlation.
Fucking assholes.
Yeah. So jumping back to 1977, with Siri Kamala Dewey's body was found in the sugarcane field. The neighbor.
Did you say 1977 or 1997?
I don't know, but it's 1997.
Okay.
So
Right.
if I said it wrong, it's 1997. So the neighbor ended up getting a group of people nearby together, and they dug up the body from the mud, and then they contacted the municipal police unit. The police pretty quickly came, and they ended up talking to Andreas, the rickshaw driver, and Andreas told them everything that he knew. So they went to Ahmed's home, where he quickly denied all the allegations until the police found her handbag, her dress, and bracelets inside the home. So on April 20th, 1997, Ahmed was arrested and brought in for an interrogation. Pretty quickly, he confessed to killing Dewey and 15 other women. During the investigation, the police realized that the number that he told them was completely wrong. And in Ahmed's house, they found the belongings of up to 25 missing women. Presented with this information, Ahmed changed his story again, and he admitted to killing 42 women within the last 11 years, all which he buried in the backyard, with them all facing face first towards his house. So the women's ranged in ages from 11 to 40. So from here, the police ended up bringing in an excavator and started digging. Overall, they found 5 decomposing bodies and the bones of 37 others. And I have a note again that they were all facing the house.
Oh, it's so creepy.
Yeah, and it was all like for this ritual practice. So the community went crazy, and over 80 families in the area had reported missing women, leading the public to think that there was more than just the 42 that he admitted to. However, because of the decomposition and the lack of DNA, there was little they could do to identify the bodies. So on December 11th, 1997, the trial began. However, to no one's surprise, he was convicted to the murders of all 42 women. And as I said before, his wives were also in on it. So all 3 women were convicted of helping with the murders. 2 of the wives were sentenced to life in prison, and the oldest was sentenced to death. However, she claimed that she confessed under torture by the police, and her sentence was later changed to life in prison. So as for Ahmed, he was sentenced to death. So on July 10th, 2008, he was sent to line up, and he was executed by firing squad.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
So I have a couple interesting facts, just 2 of them. So one is that in the investigation, they were not able to establish any sexual assault on the victims, and Ahmed also denied any accusations of assault. He said that he just wanted to earn money and power by killing the women. And so he also told the police that my father did not specifically advise me to kill people. So I was just thinking it would just take ages if I had to wait to get 70 women. So I was trying to get to it as fast as possible. I took my own initiative to kill.
That's just not. You can't convince me it's gonna be faster to murder all of these women than it just would be to come up with some sort of plan to get their saliva.
Hey, I got a weird fetish. Could you spit in this cup?
Like, and here's the thing. Maybe it is a fetish and ancestry. They're just swallowing people's saliva.
Yeah.
Just kidding, ancestry.
That's disgusting.
No, but that's
you got some weirdo in the back just like,
delicious. Yeah. Oh, gross. Oh, God.
But yeah, that's like the thickness, but
how awful that
gross.
people believe in this like practice, and they go there trusting somebody, and they're in a hole being buried, and they're like, yeah, man, this is great. I'm gonna get and people are horrible.
People are fucking awful.
Right, and people already, I guess, trusted that he was a Dukin.
Yeah.
So why did he have to do all of that?
I don't know. It's so
to get more powerful power.
Yeah, just because to be more powerful.
He could have been like, all right, as part of this, I do need you to give me a
I'm sure if they
an eighth of a cup of your
exactly.
saliva.
I'm sure if they already thought that he was a Dukan, then he could have
just like
used
persuaded
that
them.
to persuade them
totally.
to do that.
To be like, for this ritual, for me to help you look prettier.
Not
you
that
need to
that
spit
still
in a
wouldn't
cup.
have been a creepy ass thing.
It would
to
still
do,
be
but-
100%, but it's still better than killing.
Yeah.
But also, I think that this is just something for women to remember that men are fucking weird,
Yes.
and gross, and they're not going to make you prettier. Thank
No.
you. They suck.
Yeah.
And you're pretty enough. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Well, that
Yeah, see?
sucked.
Right? Right? So when we were talking, I'm like, oh, I think you're going to have one that's real fucked up compared to mine. I'm like, mine's still kind of weird, but.
No, yours was fucked up too.
Right?
I do love that he was died by firing squad.
I did. When I saw that, I kind of chuckled out loud.
Yeah. I'm not like, I'm conflicted when it comes to the death penalty because I kind of believe like if you're going to fuck with somebody, then you should be.
I mean, if you're going to kill 42 people or 60 people, like you just,
I read something recently.
don't feel
I
bad.
don't remember what it was. It might have been like the last episode where the father, what was the last episode? What do we do?
I literally just did
The traumatic one.
Oh, it was the story that Brittany told you about her friend.
Oh, I don't
Ashley.
think oh, no. It
That was our
wasn't
last
that one.
episode.
I was reading something about a father didn't want the person who had killed, I think, his daughter to go through the death penalty.
Oh, that was my story.
Was that your story?
Yeah,
'Cause he didn't
yeah.
believe in the death penalty, and I'm like,
Well,
No,
I do think there
Interesting.
is something to be said for like the death penalty does put a sort of like another layer of trauma onto the people who
victims.
knew the victims
I
because
agree.
then they have to take on like, yes, I think this person was a piece of shit and they should have died, but also now I feel like I played a part in another person dying.
totally.
So-
Yeah.
My thoughts about it are I would rather see them rot in jail for a very long time
Yeah.
because I think that is a worse fate than just dying.
Yeah.
Because once
So
you
I
die,
agree
you're
with
just
that.
dead.
You're just dead. Yeah. So I agree with that. I think that, however, the jail, the prison system, is not as horrible, I think, as we think because there's a lot
Yeah.
of accommodations. I don't know.
Well, in just thinking about, I just leaked to myself.
Ahmed would be very excited.
Like he's drinking from a hose.
below you just like that. Disgusting.
But also thinking about like different countries and their different styles of prison, right? So like in
Yeah.
Indonesia, I'm sure it's way different than what
True.
the
I have
US
no idea
is.
what it's like
Sure.
there.
Right? And
Well,
like,
and I
I'm sure
can't-
that's a
I've
lot more
never-
comfortable in the US than it would be there.
When I've never been to jail, I mean,
I'd like to not.
yeah, even talking
prison.
to anybody that I've known who's been like my sister who's been in that system, she described it pretty rough.
Oh yeah, she did.
And so, yeah, I completely agree with that. Like, I think that people, should have to live the length that their life is miserable.
Right. I think they
to pay
should
for
live the
crime. Yeah.
consequences.
To the level of the consequence. If if you've ever been arrested for marijuana or sitting in jail,
No,
you
no,
should
no.
be let go.
I don't
Right.
believe in
You know.
living the consequences for like dumb shit
No,
like that.
no,
But
it's
if you
just
did
murder.
what David, whatever his name was, did,
Yeah,
then
fucking David
rot.
Patrick Ray. Yeah,
Rot.
is his name
Yes.
David Patrick Ray? I don't know. Yeah, no, he was fucking horrible. Ahmed too. Like but I think, he, and it's interesting too because he died of a heart attack 8 months after serving. Like, come on, my guy. Like, well, he's not my guy. Gross. But yeah, like David Parker Ray. I think I said Patrick, but David Parker Ray. Yeah, no, like 8 months. No.
Yeah.
But also, I'm just, again, I'm conflicted about it because I feel like if somebody's tortured and just whatever, it's like, then you should get that. But
Yeah. Well, it's
don't
hard to
know.
not feel like eye for an eye, right? Like
it is.
you were an
yeah.
awful person. You deserve to
know.
feel that same pain, right? But then I do agree with the you have to sit and sulk in it the rest of your life. You're not going anywhere. You're not coming out from behind these bars. And
Well, then I think it kind of perpetuates because somebody has to push a button, right? Somebody's doing something. So then they've like done the thing to kill.
Yeah.
Like those things, I'm kind of like, well, now we're just kind of passing
Yeah,
on
I feel.
this
Yeah, I
idea
feel
of
like
murder.
the like
Yeah.
karmic. If you believe in karma, whatever.
Yeah.
If you are the person that has to like pull the trigger to kill the person
Yeah.
that killed all those people, then you suddenly
Then now
have to
you
take
have
that to your
done-
grave.
Yeah.
Even if you thought that was a terrible person,
Yeah.
you still have to take the fact that
yeah,
you have ended somebody's life.
I know.
Like that just.
Which I think is interesting. So, listeners, let us know what you think. I value people's opinions and all that kind of stuff. And I admittedly just said I am conflicted with it. I think it just really kind of depends on some things. But for the most part, I don't think anyone should be murdering anything in general. So that's that. But let us know what you think and tell us why.
Yeah.
Don't argue about it. Just let us know your opinion. Thank you. But yeah, that was an interesting one. The saliva thing has me reeling.
That's what I read like the first synopsis of it and they said saliva drinking. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this one.
I just I can't. Saliva grosses me out so much.
It grosses me out too.
Oh my God. I remember when I was younger and dating somebody and have you ever made out with somebody where you're like, this is gross?
Ew.
I know. And you're just like wet because you're
just
like,
all
why is
over.
there so much spit coming out of your mouth? Ugh. And I didn't go on a date again.
Well,
Because he was gross.
good for me, I guess.
Well, no, you're great. But I don't know. Saliva. Oh God. Yeah. Just.
You're welcome.
Listen, I have some weird dreams and I always wake up being like, that was fucking weird.
You do have some odd dreams.
I know. And then I move on and I'm like, that was a dream and
Right.
something's wrong with my brain.
Did we talk about the dream that you had of me that I murdered somebody and you helped hide the body? Did we talk about that on the podcast?
No, that was a weird ass dream. I don't totally remember it now, but glad I told you about it.
You're my ride or die, I guess.
Apparently. Don't fuck with Brandon because he may murder you. I don't know. Just kidding. But no, I also had that dream. Remember when I wrestled an alligator to save you and I punched
it in the head for me.
I do remember that dream.
You have
quite
very
vividly.
vivid dreams.
do.
I sure do not.
The weirdest dreams. My dream last night was really bizarre too. I think I woke up and told you about that one. Right?
I don't remember.
Was my ex and everything?
Oh, yeah.
That was a weird ass dream. I don't like weird dreams. I wake up and I'm like, why? Why? I don't dream about drinking people's saliva.
You're right.
Or murdering anyone.
Or having
Definitely don't do
your
that.
dead father tell you
to drink
to drink someone's bodily
Right.
fluids.
My dad's not dead, thank God. But
No, well, I didn't mean.
but had he
Like,
if he-
theoretically.
But if he was dead and that's what he came back to say, I'd be like, shut up.
yeah,
No, thank you.
in my dream, shut up.
Don't do that.
I'm good.
No, like you'd wake up and be like, no,
No, I'm not going to do that.
I'm gonna forget
right.
that dream. I'm ready for coffee. Yeah,
Yeah.
like no. Anyway, all right. Well, good episode, Anna.
It was fun.
I've missed
It was
this.
great.
I know, I did
I
too.
really have
Yeah,
missed
me
being in
too.
person with you. Sorry, our lives have been so fucking weird.
I know.
Oh my God.
We're getting back on the horse.
We are getting back on the horse, although we're going to be gone for like a little bit, but we'll talk about that after. But not that long. But yeah, I'm excited to be back in person.
Me too.
And just kind of ready for our life to get back to
Some sense of calmness.
Yeah.
ish. I don't know. We've never had a calm life, but
We've never had.
I know that Marty situation was really rough for quite a while.
Yeah.
So ready to, I don't know. We got to get her from below the couch.
We do. And I'm going to have to crawl under there because I know you're not going to.
Probably not.
I'm right. I know I'm right.
You're right.
I am.
No, you're back here. I don't have to do anything alone. This is great. It was weird being here for 2 months without you.
Yeah, it was weird.
Or it was only a month.
Like a month.
Like a month
almost
and a half.
Yeah. almost
Back
a
and
month a half.
forth. I took 7 flights in January.
Ooh.
That was aggressive.
Yeah.
I'd like to not do that again.
Yeah, no, I'd like to not. That was
Yeah.
expensive.
And then and that. Yeah, that I got some hella points though.
You did.
Thank you. For when we go to Prague for Savannah's wedding. Hi Savannah. I wonder if she listens anymore.
I've heard them listen in the office.
They better.
We're talking about our team member
Yeah,
and
Savannah.
friend, of course.
Savannah Cruz. She is the best. Just love her. I mean, I love our whole team who listens.
They all do.
They all do. Anna, Kay, Brihanna, Savannah.
Yeah.
I think Palm and Wayne still listen, right?
Yeah, my parents. I think so.
And my sister-in-law Val. And Bobby.
And Becca.
And Becca.
I'm sure Becca doesn't listen.
I hope Becca's not listening. Well, what's he?
At this
At
point,
least
we're
you
just
can see
rambling.
his little gunkles.
I don't
we're-
know if
okay, we
anybody's
should go.
listening at this point.
Everybody
Everyone's like, they're
tuned
done.
out.
Because I know my ass would have been like, oh, I don't care.
You're rude.
just kidding.
I sometimes will listen. Okay, whatever. Anyway, everyone, thank you for listening.
Yes, and don't forget to rate and subscribe. And
yeah,
give
rate,
us
reviews,
some
subscribe.
reviews.
We do need some more reviews and ratings. So do that. Thank you.
We always will.
Yeah. All right. Until next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.